Hello, welcome to 8th grade social studies STAR Prep. This is the 7-minute mastery series. Today we're going to be talking about geography. So our focus is more on geography, where things are at, than the history of what happened today. So don't be confused about the original 13 colonies because yes, there were some colonies that technically were around before the original 13, like Plymouth and Jamestown, but they meshed together with other colonies and formed what became the 13 colonies. When we're talking about the 13 original, we're talking about the 13 colonies that united together to form the original United States, that originally signed the Declaration of Independence to become their own nation and fight against Great Britain in the Revolutionary War. Look at the right side of your map here. The bright pink are some of these original 13 colonial areas. And let's kind of move on to the specifics. So the northernmost colonies of the original 13 are called the New England. We think it starts with an N, New England, North. Be looking at the maps while I'm talking here. Kind of keep your focus there so you have an idea of what's going on. You see the inserts on this map and the following map so you can get an idea of where this is in relation to the rest of the country. All right, the middle colonies. Again, look at the insert as well as the main map. The middle colonies of these original 13, they're between New England and the southern colonies. They're middle, but they're not completely middle because you have colonies like New York that's actually further north than some of the New England colonies. But again, they're called the middle colonies here. New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, etc. These are the middle colonies. Southern colonies. The southern colonies were southernmost of the original 13. They span the most land. You have Georgia at the far south all the way up to Maryland in the northern part of these southern colonies, okay? So press pause on these if you really want to kind of study it out and get a better feel for where these colonies or other things are on the maps as we go. So the Appalachian Mountains, look at the green shaded area on your map. They run north and south across the western edge of most of these original colonies. They kind of form a natural barrier. So it kind of made sense that the colonies kind of ended at the edge of these mountains here. To the west of these mountains, you have the blue shaded area, the Ohio River Valley, which was the battleground for much of the French and Indian War, eventually captured by the British after they won the war. So this became part of all of this British land. However, the proclamation line of 1763 at the edge, you can see it printed in the edge of the blue area. That's on the edge of the Appalachian Mountains where the King of England declared the colonists after the French and Indian War, they couldn't go beyond that line. This infuriated a lot of colonists who were already west of that line who were forced to go back east. And then look at the bottom right here. Again, this is not chronological order. We're looking at maps today. You have the Indian Removal Act. That's in the areas of mostly Georgia and Florida. The Trail of Tears is the dotted red or purple arrows. President Jackson forced the Indians from their homelands to Oklahoma. That's Oklahoma Territory where that last arrow ends up, in order to use their lands for agriculture and natural resources. So Transcontinental Railroad, you see the red line marks the Union Pacific, where it connects to the blue line of the Central Pacific Railway. And it was constructed between 1863 and 1869, so that's after the Civil War. And this was a railroad to connect the western populations in California that were big there, mostly because of mining and the gold rush, to connect them to much of the populations in the east. You see this this line doesn't go all the way to the east. That's because where that red line ends, there's lots of railroads at this time throughout the eastern part of the United States. So they just needed one to connect everything in the east to California out there in the west. All right, the National Road, also known as the Cumberland Road. We see this every once in a while on a test. It was first federally funded road and was a main transport to the west for many early travelers. Built between 1811 and 1837, it's 620 miles long. So it's a significant road, but in terms of our whole country today, you see this only goes through about 4 or 5 states. So it's small in terms of our whole nation today, but it was a big deal at the time because it allowed people to get from the far eastern coast all the way into Illinois, or the Illinois area. The Erie Canal, 363-mile long canal connecting Lake Erie to the Hudson River in New York State. This was hugely significant because it was finished around 1825, and it changed the ability to transport goods across the northeastern portion of the country, cutting transportation costs by as much as 95%. And this greatly increased the size of New York City and the importance of New York City because people could transport things from the Great Lakes to Hudson River all the way down to New York City. Basic regions and features out west, we have California on the left side of your map, and then you have the Rocky Mountains in the green, and then the Great Plains is the central part. You have the blue arrows pointing to the Mississippi River, and then you have the brown areas, the Appalachian Mountains. At the upper right-hand side, you see Manifest Destiny. That's just the idea that it's our destiny to go from sea to shining sea. Our country wanted to keep gaining more and more land. Those are the different regions up there. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. You can press pause if you want to look at it. It's just the major battles of the American Revolution and where they were located. Then you have the Civil War lands here. The blue are the Union states, and the purple are the Southern Confederate states. Again, not going to spend a lot of time on this. These are some of the Civil War essential or significant battles. Press pause if you want to look at those for a little bit. And then the U.S. territorial acquisitions. This is America gaining land. This is the Manifest Destiny. The Treaty of the original 13 states in 1783 after the Revolutionary War. Obviously, this includes in the brown on the right side, the eastern part of your map. That's more than just the original 13 colonies, but we had more land that was just territory. It was the Northwest Ordinance that gave us, in our essential constitutional convention, that gave us the structure to gain those as states. Then in the white dotted area, have the Louisiana Purchase. You can see how massive that is. That's not just the little bitty state of Louisiana. Then you have Texas annexation in the blue. When Texas joined the United States, it was bigger than it eventually became. Then you have the pink area, which is Mexican cession after the Mexican-American War. The yellow is the Oregon Territory, gained from Great Britain. Then you have the Gadsden Purchase in 1853. At the bottom left there, the Southwest. All right, let's look at some questions. Which numbered area did the United States acquire in 1846 after negotiations with Great Britain? Press pause. Here's your answer. Yeah, that's the Northwest area. That's Oregon Territory. United States in 1861. Which region's primary economic activity in 1861 was the cultivation of cotton? Press pause. Here's your answer. The South. Which shaded state was the main destination of American Indians forced to relocate as part of the Trail of Tears? Press pause, and here's your answer. Yeah, that's Oregon Territory. Or sorry, not Oregon, Oklahoma Territory. Which map shows the boundaries of the United States just after the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo? Press pause. Here's your answer. Gadsden Purchase area right there. All right, the numbered river on the map played a major role in the, press pause. Here's your answer, the exploration of new territory acquired from France in the Louisiana Purchase. All right, that's it for today. Thanks, guys.